Hey guys, so I was fishing on Hyco Lake in North Carolina, and I was running two cameras. I was running one camera on my Livescope so you all could kind of see what I'm seeing instead of just staring at my back all day. And my second camera is where I normally put it, towards the back of the boat. Unfortunately, the second camera did not capture any of the information. I think the file got corrupted. So all I'm able to show you guys today is the Livescope footage, but I got some really good Livescope footage. And kind of what you're seeing here is me. I scanned probably 3 or 4 hours before I found a deep flat that held a lot of fish and a lot of bait. I started by throwing an A-rig at the fish, and what you're going to see in this first clip is me being unsuccessful. They were just not interested in the A-rig. I don't know if that's because they're seeing it too much or they just weren't in the mood to eat that big of a bait. But the next couple clips, again, is just me throwing an A-rig at some schools of bass, them looking at it, being interested, following it, but never committing to the bait. Right here, I'm throwing it's an underwater road bed. It has a brush pile sitting on it. This is where the bridge would have been. Again, throwing the A-rig, getting some followers. They're interested. They would just not commit to it. At this point, I'd thrown everything. I threw an A-rig, I threw a jerk bait, a fluke on a weighted jig hit, threw a blade bait. I just could not get them to commit. I did have a crappie rod with a crappie jig on deck, just in case I came across some schools of crappie. So, just for S's and G's, I decided to throw the crappie jig out there. It had a black and chartreuse curly tail grub on a 3/16 ounce head. And sure enough, very first cast with the crappie jig, I started getting bit. And that's all they would bite just about the rest of the day. They loved this crappie jig. I caught crappie on it, I caught bass on it, I even caught a catfish on the crappie jig. I did get them to start eating a jerkbait and a A-rig later in the day as the cloud cover got better. But the crappie jig was definitely the deal through the middle of the day. What you're seeing here is a giant school of crappie. They were kind of grouped up on this flat. They were not eating as good as the bass were, but was still able to catch a few of them.
That's what they are.
I rolled up on this school. I thought this was more crappie the way they were set up and kind of the return that they were giving me, and it very well could have been crappie, but I ended up catching a catfish right here. Generally, catfish for me show up a little bit more fuzzier. They don't get such a hard return. But this was the only fish I caught out of the school. I cast it to a few more times and never caught anything to be able to validate, was it actually crappie or just a bunch of catfish?
He ain't gonna eat this fucking A-rig today, man. Son of bitches.
So as you heard with my colorful language, I tried keeping the A-rig honest. They would not have it, so I picked the crappie jig up and caught one. Again, the crappie jig was really the deal this day. Still throwing the crappie jig here. I kind of worked on the school a little bit, pushed them down to the bottom, but they were still eating. At this point, I'd moved to the different section of the lake, but I tried to find a flat that was similar to the one that I'd been catching fish on, and sure enough, it was holding quite a few fish, as you can see here. That's a giant school of largemouth. Just being stubborn that I am, I started throwing an A-rig at them just to see, trying to keep that honest, and I was able to start picking fish up at this section of the lake with the A-rig. And I believe later in this clip, I caught one on a jerkbait as well. And I think a crappie jig also. So definitely rotating baits on them to keep them biting and keep them active. hope you all have enjoyed the video thus far. Again, I just wanted to start trying to capture some of what I'm seeing at the front of the boat to kind of give you guys a different angle, and so that you're not just staring at my back the whole time I'm fishing on my videos. What you're not seeing here is hours and hours of side scanning trying to find these schools. So while Livescope is an extremely powerful tool, it is not a cure-all. You still have to find the fish, and then once you find the fish, you still have to use your fish deception skills to catch them. And I think this video is also going to show you that Livescope does not catch them for you. But that said, again, it is a powerful tool, and there's a lot of times I would not have caught fish, or these specific fish rather, without the tool. I think the biggest asset of the tool is it teaches you fish behavior. It's got nothing to do with catching more fish. It really does teach you how fish react to baits, and it teaches you how fish move. I'm always shocked to see how much and how active fish are in 45 and 46 degree water and how they move. Prior to Livescope, I thought fish just sat lethargic in 45 degree water, and that fish just sat on brush piles without ever moving, and that's just not the case in my experience. So again, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and keep coming back and looking for more.